next up, our segment is called Best Thing of the Week. Each week at It's Happening Out, we celebrate great things in our community. Best Thing of the Week is sponsored by the Israeli national airline, El Al. El Al was born in 1948 with the State of Israel and is an expression of national existence and pride. That word is intentional. And this pride is self-evident in South Florida. El Al features nonstop services from Miami to one of the world's great LGBTQ plus destinations, and that is Israel. And this fall, El Al will connect the two LGBTQ capitals of the world, Tel Aviv and Fort Lauderdale, with new seasonal service, and next spring adding extensive nonstop flights between the two cities. And that's why El Al sponsors the Best Thing of the Week.
Yeah.
Here we go. June 17 was a day filled with love and expression of equality. Rain or shine, the Wilton Manors Stonewall Pride Parade went on. The event started at 3 p.m. following the parade at 7 p.m. and it ended at approximately 11. The parade and the event received a huge response from the community. Even with the weather, more than reported 40,000 attended. Tens of thousands came out to the Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival. As I said, approximately 40,000. And I and Faye hosted interviews with several important people and announced the parade live. It was one of the hardest gigs you and I have ever done.
And Faye twice for working with you.
Yeah. Wait, that's funny because it's true. The energy reinstated the sense of togetherness and strength in our community. This year, there were some new rules to follow after Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill into law last month, making it illegal for anyone below the age of 18 to attend adult live performances like drag shows. Broadly defined, who knows what any of that means. The best thing of the week. Stonewall Pride, Wilton Manors is over, and it refreshed our belief that pride matters. What did y'all think? Best thing of the week.
You know, there was a lot of people who didn't show up because of the rain, and shame on you. I'm going to say that, shame on you, right? This was the time for you to show up. But we had so many people there anyway, which I was surprised. I was like, man, Al, imagine if the day would have been clear and beautiful, how many more people? We probably would have had like 60,000 people there because there was just so many people there anyway, you know? I did love how people stepped up and dressed in drag, right? Like, you know, in solidarity with the drag queens. I don't think it was enough. I think there should have been more. I didn't see the protests that I wanted to see out there, you know? But it was a wonderful time and everybody was represented, I thought, you know? I felt bad for the drag queens that were on the floats because you can tell that they were subdued. If you look at the video, like you can just tell that they didn't want to move, they didn't want to dance, like they were fucking afraid, man. And that broke my freaking heart, you know? I was glad that they were still a part of it. The organizations that have our backs were a part of it, you know? But something just didn't fill me entirely, Al. I don't know exactly what it was.
So so someone who was waiting around to march, a lot of people waited and stayed. I actually did half face. You know, when I do drag, I am illumination.
Define half face.
I had some makeup on half my face.
Look
and so
lipstick,
half lipstick, half eye. There was a lot of leather folks and dressed in gear that normally wouldn't. And lace and corsets and heels and things. And what I found so amazing about that is folks said, I'm coming out of my comfort zone because I know my siblings are hurt. And so I do agree that you might, because y'all did an awesome job from y'all wonderful stage, but from someone who was on the ground walking that space, we showed out. And what I loved about it is I had leather folks who came and said, look at what I got on, look at me. And they showed that our communities are one. We all come from the same tree, but different branches. And so there were people in protest. But I do understand your point about our drag, because I felt that we did not get the opportunity to highlight our drag siblings who don't often get the chance other than in Pride, where we get to show new faces, where we get to show the new talent, where we get to support our siblings who work all year long on the drive. That was what was missing for me, other than all of that.
I'm mad about that. I was not able to attend, and I live on the Strip, so everyone's gonna hate me. I'm gonna be very controversial saying this, but we were pussies, man. We were bitches about it. We should have still had drag queens involved. We should have protested a lot bigger. People in Miami are still doing it. The ones who started this drama, our house, they're still doing drag brunches. They're still doing it. There should have been drag queen performances on this event, on the drive, all day long. What happened to when we were getting arrested back in the 70s and 80s? Why can't we get arrested now? We should have been in drag. Fuck Ron DeSantis. I'm going to pay this drag queen $300 so she could do a show. And if that bitch gets arrested, that's on her. Let her be arrested. If you're going to arrest me for hiring a drag queen, I'll get arrested with her. Why are we stepping up to that level? Why are we bowing down to these dumb fucking politicians who mean nothing to us anymore?
Because we're afraid. Because of fear.
Tired.
I wasn't able to go, but I was ready to get arrested too. So
I can get you arrested real quick.
there are other reasons, but like I
Wow.
made a decision in my life that I was gonna get fired. Like I could very well get fired from my job, one of my jobs. I was ready to do all of that. So I don't really understand. Was there a decision that drag queens cannot perform at Pride?
Yes, absolutely.
And they were told, and they weren't going to.
And the broadest thing is it comes right from the top. We continue to talk about this. DeSantis is, gosh, I know everybody recoils when I say this, but DeSantis was a genius. He approached this in the way to create as much confusion and therefore fear as possible. And as a result, DeSantis can come in and remove the mayor of Wilton Manors.
Quickly.
He can come in and remove Chris Caputo for appearing on our stage in drag. He can remove the police chief. And everybody goes, do it, do it, do it. And then they don't think about what the secondary consequences would be.
What would that
What
be?
would happen if he removed half of the city commission, a voting majority, and the mayor, and he replaced them with Moms for Liberty?
And all
And I
anti-LGBTQ
totally understand that because you made that point on a previous show.
Yep.
But when there is, I mean, if they're not being overtly sexual, I think that's. I think that scandal.
I have to stop you in
Go ahead,
that
tell me.
word,
Please.
because that makes the assumption that somebody reasonably is going to interpret the law, which they aren't. They didn't write the law for that point. They didn't write the law to satisfy a definition. They did not write the law to do anything but to create fear.
And
we bought into it.
And we bought into it. And these people are collecting data at all our events. Okay, I saw the same guy in the portable scooter at your Pride. Okay, at Gay Ocho. Also, I saw the same guy at Wilton Manors, also videotaping everybody with a big Trump 2024 sticker on the back of his scooter.
One last thing, best thing of the week, clearly. One
Yes.
last thing that I think is
Because
interesting
bubbling in this.
of
it's true.
the issue on El Al and the new connection service between Tel Aviv and Fort Lauderdale.
Nice segue.
Nice
Al.
segue. Good job.
You know that I thought you were lying when you said El Al. I go, is he
Me
kidding?
too.
Are
Wow.
you serious? And then I saw the beautiful
Airline.
airline, and I saw the airplane, and I go, oh,
Another
serious.
selfish plug.
They wear the
Just
national
selfish.
emblem on the tail of the plane in Pride.
Love
And
it.
That's the
Yes,
point
that's
that I made.
awesome.
It's interesting to me that how much Fort Lauderdale and Tel Aviv have in common in 2023. Tel Aviv Pride is arguably the best Pride event in Europe.
And
Israel
biggest
generally is
world.
considered a portion of Europe and one of the biggest in the world. And they came under dramatic pressure. In January, it was suggested by very radical conservative clerics in, I'm using the wrong word, religious conservatives in Israel that no, we don't want queer people on the beach in Tel Aviv, and we should cancel Tel Aviv Pride. And they have been involved in 6 months of fighting and fighting and fighting in Tel Aviv and Israel going, wait, we're Israel and we're Tel Aviv, and there's no way this is going to happen. And ultimately, all the way to the prime minister, they said, no, that's not going to happen. And Tel Aviv Pride went on in June of this year.
We should take note.
I think that is interesting in that Stonewall Pride is a similar victory because it could have been a situation that we were like Port St. Lucie and the city commission in Port St. Lucie saying, nope, cancel the parade and we'll do a festival. And we'll do the festival and change an age requirement to 21. And we'll put up 6-foot or 8-foot black privacy walls around the entire acreage of the Pride Festival so you can hide behind the walls so nobody can see you. That's not what happened at Stonewall.
Nope.
That is not what happened in Wilton Manors. That is not what happened in Fort Lauderdale. And that is not what happened in Broward County. I would just make the connection.
Yep.
Both great LGBT cities come to it in different ways, but have similar outcomes. They happened. That is a victory. And now what we should do from that is Jonathan Cassanias's comments and arguments. Now we're going.
Well, first you guys show up to the Pride. If you want to show up to the Pride,
right.
You can't say go to jail.
We're going to fight.
Yeah,
Best
show up, Jonathan.
Let's get arrested.
of the week.
Show
And I'll
up,
bail
girl.
you out, John. I'll be Donald Trump. I've heard those phrases. You do it, and I promise I'll bail you. But wait, I will.
You will.
You're gonna mute.
Okay. We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show from Happening Out Television Network. In the model of PBS and NPR, we educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the stories going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.